Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Impress with a video on Paul Morphy's Sizzling Queen Sacrifice. Paul Morphy, the great American, the pride and sorrow of chess. His career only lasted 2 years. From 1857 to 1859 he was the strongest player in the world. This video is also number 5 in the series The Queen Rules. Morphy played quite an extraordinary queen move in this game. It was played in the final of the first American Chess Congress, which was really the predecessor of the United States Chess Championships. White was Louis Paulson and black was Paul Morphy. They played the final. And Paulson opened with e4. e5, knight f3, knight c6, and we have the good old 4 knights game. Bishop b5 and bishop c5. Both players castled and Paulson took on e5. What is he doing? Is he just giving away a piece? No, he's not, because if you take the piece, then d4 will regain the piece because of the fork. So Paulson had not gone crazy. He did not blunder a piece. But Morphy did not capture on e5. He temporarily gives up a pawn. He played rook e8. Knight takes c6, d takes c6, and now the bishop is attacked, and with bishop d3 you can try to hang on to this extra pawn on e4. But Paulson went to c4, not trying to keep the pawn, not cramping his position. b5 hitting the bishop again, bishop e2, and Morphy takes his pawn back, knight takes and rook takes. So far so good. Bishop f3 hitting the rook, and the rook dropped back to e6. You have to make sure you keep that pawn protected, which Morphy did. c3, and that's a bit of a mysterious move because now Morphy can jump with the queen into white's position, and it's not so easy to get the queen away from there. How are you going to develop this bishop is the question. b4, bishop back to b6, and a4. As we'll see, white's expansion on the queen side will not lead to much, but that's Paulson's plan, to play on the queen side. Morphy took, queen takes, and bishop d7. And now a very odd move. Look at this move from Paulson. Rook a1 to a2. Not sure what he's trying to do here. Is he trying to develop his bishop? Maybe to a3, and then he has to make sure he keeps the pawn protected on d2. It all looks very unnatural and clumsy. Queen a6 is the move that the engine wants to play instead, and the position is roughly equal. It's offering a trade of queens. It gets the queen expelled from d3, after which white can play up his d-pawn and finish his development by developing the bishop. But as said, rook a2 was played. Rook ae8, very logical play, doubling on the e-file, and black brings a threat in the position. Suddenly the threat is queen takes f1. Yes, a queen sacrifice. Because if you take back, then rook e1 is checkmate. White's back rank is weak, because the bishop still being at home and the rook being played to a2. So queen takes f1 is a threat after rook ae8. Paulson saw that and played queen a6, taking that threat out of the position. But now, look at this move. Morphy threatened a queen sacrifice. Paulson makes sure that doesn't happen, but Morphy finds another one. He played in this position on the 17th move. After about 12 minutes of thought, queen d3 takes f3. The queen rules. What a move this is. According to one of the annotators that I found on the internet called Chernev, Morphy took 12 minutes over this move, probably to assure himself that the combination was sound and that he had a forced win in every variation. And he does. This queen sacrifice is correct. You have to take it, otherwise you just lost a piece. And rook g6 check. It's handy to have that rook on the 6th rank. King h1 only move, and bishop h3. The only winning move. Look at white's queen. It looks really silly on a6. Now, how can we try to save this position? Rook g1 will not work. That will lead to a forced checkmate. If you want to look for this checkmate yourself, put the video on pause. I'll show it now. Morphy would have taken on g1. King takes. Rook e1 check. Again, the weakness of the back rank. Queen f1, and this is checkmate. Very nice. So, let's go back. Bishop h3 was played. We can't play rook g1. There's not so much else. Paulsen played the rook to d1, taking a rook out of the attack of the bishop. And how does black win now? Bishop g2 check. King g1 only move, and bishop takes f3 check. Again, there's only one move, king f1, and here rook g2 leads to mate. It was not played, but it's a very nice mate. And it was Johannes Zukertort, the first challenger of the official world champion against Steinitz, who gave this variation in his analysis. Many years after this game was played. He showed queen d3, bringing the queen back, but then rook takes f2 check, king g1, that same rook gives it another check, king h1, and this is checkmate, because it's double check. Beautiful checkmate. So back to where we were, king f1, and we just looked at rook g2, but Morphy played bishop g2 check. The magic continues. King g1 only move, and now the quickest way to checkmate, again, if you want to look what is the quickest way to checkmate white here, put the video on pause. Morphy did not find it. Bishop e4 check, discovered check from the rook, is the quickest way. King f1 only move, and then the very nice move bishop f5, and there's nothing to be done against bishop h3 checkmate. Very nice, those quiet bishop moves. White has no chance to save himself. But after king g1, bishop e4 check was not played. Bishop h3 check was played by Morphy. It also wins. Again, white only has one move, and bishop takes f2. And now the mate threat is with the bishop. Bishop g2 is a checkmate threat. Wonderful variations. So Paulsen played the queen back to f1, really the only move to prevent bishop g2 checkmate, giving back the queen to avoid mate. There goes the queen. Rook takes, and material-wise, black is 2 pawns up, but his attack is not finished. Even without the queens on the board, black's attack continues. White is really playing this game without these two pieces. They are not taking part in the game, are just looking on from afar how the king is getting slaughtered. Rook e2 from Morphy. Rook a1, trying desperately to get his pieces into play. Rook h6. d4, finally opening up the diagonal for the bishop, but it's too late. Black, however, has only one winning move, and Morphy finds it. And it's a beautiful move. Look at this one. Bishop f2 to e3 is the winning move. Opening up the second rank and shielding the attack from white's bishop on black's rook. Beautiful move. Paulsen resigned here as he will get mated. Let's have a look. What happens after bishop takes e3? It's a simple mate with two rooks. Rook h takes h2 check, king g1, and checkmate. My engine gives one other variation to prolong the game a few more moves. Rook f2, giving away that rook to avoid mate. Rook takes, and then you can take the bishop with a fork. Is there still hope for white? No, there isn't, because rook f takes h2 check is the strongest move here. We're going to pick up the rook on a1. That rook has not been very lucky in this game. King g1, and now we have the skewer. The rook is lost. Yes, you can take on h6, but after g takes h6, black is just a rook up. And he's half a box of pawns up as well, so easy win for black this. After bishop e3, Louis Paulsen, a very strong player, resigned. He was made to look very average in this game by the genius Paul Morphy. One last bit of trivia I found is that the New York Tribune of the 9th of November 1857 said that this game lasted 2 hours and 55 minutes for 28 moves. Nowadays, a game of 28 moves, a classical game, would also last about 3 hours. so the time spent was similar to nowadays. It doesn't say how those 3 hours were distributed between the two players. I hope you enjoyed this wonderful game from Paul Morphy. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe to the Chess to Impress channel, and please leave a comment. If you like the video, if you like the series, then please share it on social media by clicking the share button on YouTube. You can find the link of the series The Queen Rules in the description box of this video. This is Rick for Chess to Impress. Thank you for watching.